How much protein is too much? 1 gram? That's barely a crumb. 2? Still pretty pathetic. How about 4, 8, 16? What happens when you double your protein every single meal until you physically can't anymore? Well, that's what I'm about to find out. I'm gonna take one of the most basic building blocks of life, protein, and turn it into a math problem. A very uncomfortable one. Because if you start with just 1 gram of protein, less than a peanut, and double it every single time you eat, it doesn't take long before you're choking down entire barnyard animals. By meal 9, you're over a pound. By meal 15, that's 32,000 grams of protein. That's about as much protein as a grizzly bear eats in an entire month. This isn't just an experiment, it's a journey into the limits of digestion, willpower, and math. So join me while I find out just how far I can take exponential protein.
Well, it turns out it's actually pretty difficult to find any kind of food that has 0 protein. I'm basically limited to like butter, heavy whipping cream, honey, maple syrup. Even most fruit has small trace amounts of protein. But I did find one thing. Blueberries. I can eat 330 grams of these, and that will equal exactly 1 gram of protein. That is a ton of blueberries. Gonna let those defrost a little bit, and we'll get a workout in.
Good leg day complete. Time to eat some blueberries. Well, meal number 1 is basically just pure carbs and fat, but it looks like it's gonna be delicious. This massive berry bowl was a perfect post-workout meal and the best way to consume 1 gram of protein. This meal was 578 calories with 112 grams of carbs and 10 grams of fat. Well, that was an absolutely delicious breakfast despite having 0 protein. And the best part about this diet is that I can actually have coffee on it. Usually when I'm doing these challenges, I'm restricted not being able to have coffee. But unfortunately, the breakfast today was so cold, those frozen blueberries, took me so long to eat it, didn't even get a chance to make a coffee. Hopefully I can get one at work. At work, I had a shot of espresso, and that held me over until lunchtime. Time for meal number 2. We have doubled the protein, so this meal I get 2 grams. And for my 2 grams of protein, I've chosen a responsible adult meal. This entire bag of sour gummy bears. So this entire bag of sour gummy bears is only 1.2 grams of protein. So to supplement the final 0.8, I have a serving of marshmallows. Marshmallows and gummy bears. It is a real struggle to find things that don't have any protein in them. Despite having absolutely 0 nutritional value, meal 2 was packed full of energy with 1,188 calories, 291 grams of carbs, and 3 grams of fat. And I'm having lunch in my car today because I do not want any of my coworkers seeing me eat marshmallows and gummy bears for lunch. They're gonna think I'm an absolute psychopath. But there's a ton of sugar, should fuel me really well for my after work workouts. Well, work's all done for the day, and turns out 1,000 calories worth of gummy bears doesn't feel too bad. I got a ton of energy. Gonna go hit some workouts now. Hopefully they hold me over because it's almost like 4 hours till I'm gonna get dinner. And then I'll get to indulge with my 4 grams of protein. All right, 7 kilometers in less than 40 minutes. Not too bad. Time for jiu-jitsu. Turns out gummy bears are a pretty awesome pre-workout meal. However, I completely emptied my tank doing these workouts. All right, training was great. The gummy bears held me over, but now I am starving. Unfortunately, got to stop at the hardware store because my bathroom fan, the motor burnt out on it. So I'm gonna pick up a new one and install that tonight. I decided to go with square, a little more of a modern look. What would you have gone with? For meal number 3, I had 4 grams of protein to work with, but that still wasn't enough to have any meat. I decided to have some sweet potato with butter and a nice big salad with homemade honey mustard dressing. While this meal had a ton of volume, it didn't quite have enough sustenance, with only 429 calories, 70 grams of carbs, and 14 grams of fat. Well, day number 1 complete. Can't exactly say that that meal was satisfying. Finishing off with these 2 little popsicles here. The only thing left I got that's actually 0 protein, other than like straight sugar, straight honey. But we will survive until tomorrow. another day, double the protein. On day number 1, I ate 2,195 calories with 7 grams of protein, 473 grams of carbs, and 28 grams of fat. Day 2 began with a dip in my freezer to help soothe my overworked body. I did a few push-ups to warm myself back up and then got started on breakfast.
Well, I am, I guess, not so surprisingly sore after yesterday. A lot of working out, not much protein, so pretty hard to recover. This morning I have 250 grams of white rice, some leftover rice here, and this equals exactly 7 grams of protein. So for my final 8th gram, I'm gonna have this banana. Good thing to know, the typical banana is 1 gram of protein. Now, this isn't nearly enough calories, and also plain white rice, who's gonna wanna eat that? So I'm gonna add this, blueberry jam, ton of sugar, ton of energy, ton of calories, 0 protein. A little strange, but I think it'll be good.
With only 8 grams of protein, this sweet and carb-filled breakfast had 697 calories, 139 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of fat.
Not bad at all. Rice goes with everything.
Well, that breakfast wasn't too bad, but when I look at my wife's breakfast, jam and rice just doesn't cut it. Well, it was a bit of a sad breakfast this morning, and honestly, it's a pretty sad lunch as well. Some strange combinations of food to equal my specific amount of protein at each meal. But the best part about this morning, I got a coffee and I made it with heavy whipping cream. Always good when I can fit a little treat into one of these diets. Finally lunchtime, and that breakfast did not hold me over. I am starving. Even with a cup of coffee this morning, didn't help with the appetite at all. Luckily for lunch, I've got some big protein hitters. Gouda cheese. Yeah, this is my big protein source. 6 grams of protein. Not too bad. That's pretty good actually. So, with my remaining 10 grams of protein for this meal, 16 total, I went with volume. So, 2 cans of pineapple, another banana, and this pack of gluten-free ginger cookies. Now, I'm guessing because these are gluten-free, the gluten is like the protein, so they're very low in protein. First can of pineapples, it's pretty filling. All right, let's try one of these before I'm too full. That is incredibly disappointing. For one, they've got like actual chunks of candied ginger in there, so the ginger flavor is like too strong. The cookie part itself just tastes horrible. It's also, ginger cookies are supposed to be like soft and gooey. This is terrible. This strange combination of food was both satisfying and unsettling. This was far more than just a snack, but you definitely can't call it a meal. 1,402 calories with 252 grams of carbs, 43 grams of fat, and of course, 16 grams of protein. Well, that was an incredibly filling lunch, exactly what I needed, and it should hold me over because tonight I'm going to play floorball. What is floorball? I was also wondering this. Some of my friends asked me to come play, and they were describing this strange game on a gym floor, but you have like sticks, and after like 5 minutes of explaining it, I realized they were just explaining floor hockey, and I'm like, yeah, I understand floor hockey. So anyways, I'm the token Canadian on the team. We'll see how that goes. All right, work's all done. About to go head off and play some floor hockey, but trying to build up this running streak, so one more. Let's do it. All right, decent run. A little bit slower than yesterday, but 7.5 kilometers done. Just got some electrolytes here to fuel up. Let's go see how sharp my hockey skills are. Well, that absolutely wrecked me, if you can't tell by my face. It's only a 32-minute game, but basically played the entire time. It was a lot of fun, reawakened the hockey beast inside of me. Felt like McDavid out there. Got a hat trick, team won, all good. Definitely coming back to play more of that. But now I am in desperate need of some protein. All right, well, turns out that game really got my adrenaline firing, and I honestly don't feel that hungry right now. So I'm gonna cook up 140 grams of white rice and 150 grams of lean ground beef. Throw a little bit of sauerkraut on top of that, a little bit of barbecue sauce, and that's gonna equal exactly 32 grams of protein. Pretty simple dinner, but that's all I'm feeling tonight. Stubbs barbecue sauce, the best barbecue sauce out there. This stuff is just says less than 1 gram per serving. I've allowed for two servings, but that should be delicious. I'm feeling unusually sore. I've pushed it pretty hard these last couple days, especially getting back into running. I'm ready for an early night tonight, and my body is gonna put this protein to use, that is for sure. This meal was such a relief. 32 grams of protein doesn't seem like much, but after a couple days of restricting myself and not consuming any meat, this meal really hit the spot. Even if it only had 569 calories, 62 grams of carbs, and 21 grams of fat. Well, it's really crazy how good just regular old ground beef tastes after you've been vegetarian for just 2 days. My body definitely needed that bit of protein. But 2 days of vegetarianism is going to be slowly transitioning to a few days of straight up carnivore, because tomorrow protein gets ramped through the roof. On day number 2, I had 2,683 calories with 56 grams of protein, 457 grams of carbs, and 76 grams of fat.
It's a beautiful day because I get to start my day off with 64 grams of protein. And I've got this big fat sirloin steak. Let's cook it up. Not only that, but I'm gonna get to make a protein shake alongside it. Now this meal's really gonna have to hold me over because my next meal is 128 grams of protein, and I'm not gonna have that until dinner tonight. Not a bad breakfast. Protein shake and a sirloin steak. Let's see how it is. Exactly what I need.
Well, it was a super satisfying breakfast. However, it's gonna have to last me all the way until dinner time. I can have snacks today, or like a cup of coffee or something, as long as it has 0 grams of protein. So we'll see if you're able to find that. I had a cup of coffee and tea during the day at work, but that morning protein bomb only seemed to ramp up my metabolism. All done work, off to jiu-jitsu now. I am starving. Despite 64 grams of protein this morning, it didn't really hold me over. Really looking forward to loading up after. It's gonna have to be a huge meal. Didn't have time for a run today, but the weather is not cooperating either, so probably for the best. Despite my hunger, I had a great training session and I came home ready to cook. I started off making a huge bowl of salad alongside another sirloin steak, some ground beef, and some rice. The steak was incredible and I crushed 2 full plates, which only got me up to 74 grams of protein. To top off my 128 grams of protein, I had some pork crackle and a protein shake with blueberries and milk. This meal was massive, 1,847 calories with 163 grams of carbs and 70 grams of fat. Well, I was absolutely ravenous for dinner today. Just finishing the night off with these pork crackles, almost 40 grams of protein in this bag. Today was fairly manageable. 2 meals, decent sized meals, nothing over the top. Tomorrow is where the fun really starts. 256 grams of protein in 1 meal. And in order to get that done, I think I'm gonna have to do only 1 meal tomorrow. So, won't eat any protein until tomorrow evening, at which point I will absolutely smash as much protein as humanly possible. On day number 3, I had 2,614 calories with 192 grams of protein, 225 grams of carbs, and 95 grams of fat.
Well, nearly 2,000 calories for dinner last night. That absolutely put me out. Slept like a rock. Still kind of feel full this morning, so no breakfast. Holding off until dinner tonight.
I drove to work on this foggy morning and had a cup of black coffee to blunt my appetite. So no lunch today, no breakfast either, but I do have something to hold me over. this Welch's strawberry soda. It's 50 grams of straight up sugar. Tried this one on the soda diet and it was pretty dang good, so this will hold me over. Zero protein whatsoever, but tonight it's gonna be a big one, 256 grams. I managed to get through my day of work without breaking into my emergency snack drawer, but then it was time to work out. I'm gonna head off for a quick run and then hit the butcher shop. We're gonna load up on protein. Run went well, and so did the grocery haul. 2 thin cut Wagyu steaks. These are gonna be awesome. Don't know if I'll be able to put back both of them, but we have a lot of protein. Well, that steak is looking incredible, but I gotta go train first. This is typically the most fun part of my day, but this time all I could think about was Wagyu. Well, it's finally time to eat. 256 grams of protein. That is a steep mountain to climb. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna start off with one of these big Wagyu steaks and go from there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do it all, but I'm gonna try. All right, my first course, a pound of Wagyu, 80 grams of protein in here, a glass of milk. This appetizer was delicious, but I still had a long way to go. Luckily, my appetite was keeping up. Once I finish this bag of pork crackle, I'll be up to 150 grams of protein. So I'm still pretty much 100 grams off of where I need to be. So, I'm cooking up this bit of leftover chicken I had and some ground beef. That's gonna get me a lot closer. We got 60 grams of chicken, 100 grams of ground beef, 100 grams of rice, another glass of milk. We're at 190 grams of protein after this. I'm already starting to get full. I started to hit a wall during this meal. This was the carnivorous dinner that I was dreaming of. But now, I was going beyond the point of enjoyment. I think the final bit of protein is gonna have to come in the form of a protein shake. Well, I got milk, blueberries, 2.5 scoops of protein. That tops me up 256 grams once I finish this. But wow, protein sure is filling. 256 grams done. In one meal. I'm so full though. Safe to say that is my limit for a single meal. 256 grams. Let me know what the most you ever got in one meal is. However, the challenge is not over. The next meal is supposed to be 512 grams of protein. There's absolutely no way I can get that done in a single meal. So let's see if I can get it done throughout the entire day tomorrow. So the final day of this challenge will be me trying to get in 512 grams of protein. On day 4, I had 2,334 calories with 256 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and 78 grams of fat.
512 grams of protein. Let's start it off strong. Triple scoop protein shake with blueberries and milk. 100 grams of protein to start off the day.
I slugged back 100 grams of protein while cooking up another Wagyu steak for my lunch. At work, I had a cup of milk with Milo and then demolished my lunch. With over 200 grams of protein down, I was feeling good, but I still had a long way to go. All done work, but I'm not even halfway done my protein yet for the day. Picked up this, 30 grams of protein. Not much flavor to this, just tastes like regular old milk, but at least it's high in protein. Just picked up something that's gonna be an absolute cheat code or a big mistake. These collagen jelly bars, like 20 grams of protein in each. Let's try raspberry first. That is really thick jelly, but not too bad. I think I'm gonna put away a couple of these. Still haven't decided what the main course is gonna be, but first I'm gonna dig into these 2 more collagen bars. So we have pineapple and we have Belgian chocolate donut. Kind of tastes like chocolate pudding. The winner is definitely the pineapple. Pineapple's the best out of all 3 actually. These are like little protein cheat codes. Next up, 15 grams of protein, via salted caramel yogurt. Nice flavor. Doesn't beat the collagen bars. Well, I decided I'm gonna cook up some butter chicken for dinner. A massive 100-gram of protein butter chicken bomb. But while I wait, I'm gonna have some pork crackle and a ginger beer. Whenever you're eating pork crackle, you gotta have a drink on hand because it get a little bit dangerous. These things will clog up your windpipe quick. All right, so there's like 120 grams of protein in this. There's no way I'm gonna eat all of it, but if I manage to eat half and I finish this bag of pork crackle, I'll be sitting at above 440 grams of protein for the day, which is still quite shy of my goal of 512, but let's put a serious dent in it. Let's see how we can do on this dinner. 60 grams worth of butter chicken, massive plate, big piece of naan, 200 grams of rice. Let's get into it. I made butter chicken, like some overconfident warlord of flavor. Grinding spices, marinating meat, stirring this bubbly cauldron of protein like a witch trying to summon muscular gains. And when it was done, it was beautiful. Rich, creamy, orange like traffic cones. I sat down like a king about to devour his kingdom. The first few bites, I'm in heaven. Like the chicken is slow dancing with my taste buds. But halfway through the plate, it turns on me. That meat starts hitting back. I'm sweating, blinking in slow motion, gripping the table like it's about to float away. I'm not even eating anymore. I'm surviving. My stomach's waving the white flag. And when I finally scrape my plate clean, I just sit there, belly full, soul empty, staring into the void, like a man who flew too close to the tandoor. I need a nap before eating anything else.
We're not having dessert, huh? We're too full.
We'll have dessert, don't you worry. Still got a little bit of pork crackle, put away too. Turns out eating nothing but protein all day makes you insanely thirsty. I am parched, but I don't have any room for liquid, unless it's a protein shake. And that doesn't make me feel any less thirsty. Finished off the pork crackle. It's about an hour later now. I'm gonna make up a protein shake using only yogurt and orange juice. Get closer to my 512 grams of protein goal. This yogurt tastes like it's gone sour. I just bought it today though. This is gonna put me up to 489 grams of protein. Just 23 grams remaining. I've hit my goal. I think I'm gonna make it. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but in my way was some more way. Final 23 grams. The only thing I can fit in my stomach, 300 mils of milk and half a scoop of protein. Why would anyone eat 512 grams of protein in a single day? Why? Because deep down, some people are broken. You think that guy's chasing gains? Nah, he's running from something. You don't eat 512 grams of protein. You wage war on your digestive system. This is not fueling your body, it's punishing it. 512 grams isn't a number, it's a warning. Well, that was a monumental effort. 512 grams of protein in a single day. There is no way I'm gonna do 1,000 tomorrow. But right now, I'm either gonna pass out or puke. So I'm gonna head to bed and we'll check in tomorrow for my final thoughts on this strange experiment. On day 5, I ate 5,064 calories with 512 grams of protein, 437 grams of carbs, and 129 grams of fat. Well, the doubling protein experiment is finally over. It was quite a difficult one. Definitely at the start. It's surprising how many things that you wouldn't think contain just small amounts of protein, so they're completely off limits. Like most fruit has a small amount of protein in it. So that was pretty tough. Getting the calories in was not a big issue, but getting the volume in, that's where the problem lies. And at the end of the challenge, obviously really difficult. In a single meal, obviously 256 grams is as far as I got, and that was a huge effort. I think it would be insanely difficult to push it past that unless you were just drinking straight up protein shakes, and that would do some crazy things to your stomach. And for an entire day, 512 grams of protein. That was, in my mind, significantly more difficult than the one meal. At least for the one meal, I was hungry from not eating all day, so when that time came around, I was pretty ready to gorge. But putting in over 500 grams of protein in a single day, that is definitely tough. If you don't think it's that hard, I would challenge you to give it a shot yourself. And potentially, once again, if you just drank protein shakes, you could double it up again and get 1,000, but that would be over 4,000 calories of straight whey protein. Volume-wise, you could probably get it done, but I think that would make you feel horrendous. Either way, it was a really interesting challenge. Now it's time to do the same thing with carbs and fat. Thanks for watching.